Welcome YouTube family, and welcome back to the Peterson Odyssey. I am Darryl. This is the first time you're actually going to have me exclusively for this whole episode. Megan is first time going to be behind the camera.
Hello!
And yeah, welcome to our van prep series. We're probably only, I'm guessing, between 6 to 8 weeks away before our van gets delivered. So things are starting to get pretty close. Okay, so pretty much near the beginning, Megan and I kind of done a rock, paper, scissors on what jobs we're going to do for our van. To tell the truth, I don't know if I purposely chose rock instead of scissors. So my job is going to be the power side of things, and Megan's going to do the plumbing. So this episode is just going to be purely about our electricity setup for our van. If you've really enjoyed what Megan's mostly done so far, please continue bearing with us, and please like and subscribe us, because yeah, we want to do the best we can for everyone out there. So I want to explain to you why we are going to go full electricity in our van and why we're not going to use gas. Ultimately, once COVID is done and dusted, everyone's allowed to travel again, we want to take our van and ship it overseas and do a crazy adventure. If you know that your van is going to produce all the electricity that you need, for me, that I think is going to take away a lot of headaches. Okay, so you might think, what are we going to use electrical wise? Basically, our van is almost going to be our home and our house. So we're going to have an induction cooktop, convection microwave, coffee machine for all those coffee lovers out there. Obviously hair straighteners, not for me, but yeah, Megan, as you know, has got a nice set of hair. Our hot water, so we've got a 1 kilowatt hot water cylinder which holds 10 litres, and also we want to make sure that we future proof it enough that it's going to make it, you can work in it. So there's going to be enough leads, outlets for what we need to do. So with any good electricity plan, I guess the fundamentals are what kind of solar power we're going to have. It's going to be approximately 600 watts kind of mark. We're probably going to end up having 2 larger size solar panels, and they are going to be feeding down to a battery bank. When it comes to batteries though, we've looked around and obviously watched a lot of YouTube. We are going to go with lithium iron phosphate, just find as though up-to-date technology. We're not going to be behind the 8 ball. It should do the needs that we are. Obviously the weight is pretty much half the weight of a lead acid or AGM batteries, I think they're called. Obviously a bit more expensive. Over the long life of what you're going to have the van for, they pay for themselves. And obviously I've watched too much YouTube. I've fallen for the commercialism and the advertising. We're going to use battle-worn batteries. So I'm just going to run by where things start with us for electricity and our requirements and the capacity that we need to supply what we need. I'm a bit of a creature of habit. We have an induction cooktop in our home. So, of course, I need an induction cooktop to cook in my van. So this is rated for 3000 watts. So it's quite a bit of juice, and with that we needed a pretty big inverter to supply this. We have got this Victron Multiplus 3000 watt inverter charger. She's quite a heavy little sucker, and it does cost a bit of money, approximately 2,500 New Zealand dollars. But if you've followed enough YouTube like I have, I think these puppies are pretty much hands down what you need, and especially for the capacity that we need to carry. I think this is gonna, well, and it should pay for itself. And those of you who don't know what Inverter does, Our battery unit is rated for 12 volts DC power. So most of the van we will try and use DC as much as possible. But for your normal household goods, you need to then invert the power from DC power, direct current, to AC. In New Zealand, and I think most of the world, we pretty much use 230, 240 volt power. So this will do that job for us. Also as well, to get what we can out of the Multi-Plus, we've also got 2 extra utilities that plug into it to make it more accessible. First of all is that I've also bought this smart dongle, which you can adhere on the back and probably just attach it to the side. So this is pretty much makes it smart. There's a Victron Connect app, and you can talk to this through that for one, change any settings on here to make sure that the inverter is purely compatible with the batteries, and also allows you to show what's happening live on the inverter through your phone or your laptop. And also, just to top off to make things easier for us, because the inverter will be in our storage garage, and will be a little bit hard when we're in bed or whatever to change it from on, off, and charging only. So to make things easier, we've also got the digital multi-control for it, so it can we can use this remotely within the van. Also, I guess I have to thank Nate at Explorers Life, YouTube content creator. A lot of what I'm doing is probably following his lead on what he's done. I feel as though he's got a very informative channel. And if by any chance you do watch this, Nate, hey, thank you very much. So we're going to have 3 modes of charging our battery bank. As you saw before, we're going to have the inverter charger. So it's going to be one where it's going to charge from shore power or an outside connection from the van, plug it into the van, and it will turn that AC power into DC to charge the batteries. So moving from there, as I said, we're going to have approximately a 600 watt solar panels in total. And to do the business, we've got a Victron MPPT solar controller, 100 to 50. So that's pretty much going to be the brains to change the electricity from what comes from the solar panels into the batteries. Another option that we're going to have is DC to DC power, which we need this switch for. Not quite a switch, but it's an isolation unit. So it can allow you to charge off your alternator and charge straight into the battery bank. Also, thanks to Nate at Explorers Life, he pretty much sold me on this little bit of kit as well. It's a Victron Lynx distributor. It's basically kind of a combined positive and negative bus bar. So taking it off, you've got your positive bus bar here, your negative bus bar here. You have fuses that can go between there, and also your wires will come up through here. So you'd go maybe to the DC fuse box from this one, the DC to DC from there, the inverter from this one, and then the MPPT from here. Thing I really like about this, it's really nice and tidy. You can have your positive cables on the top level, and then from here you can then just put the negative ones from here. So it's really, really, really tidy. I think it's a really good little piece of kit, and safety wise I think it's well worth the money. And from this side here, where the connections are, these two sides will then go to the battery side. And then to monitor all that, I've actually decided to go away from Victron. I saw another product in the market when I was looking for everything, and what I've decided to use is this Slow Marine product. It is called a Picot Monitor. The display and information that it gives you, it was outstanding, and it really, really sold me. It shows you a lot better than what the Victron monitor will do. So I think this is a really, really good piece of kit. From the Lynx distributor, coming out of the negative bus bar, as you all know, to show a monitor, you need a shunt. And this thing is a bit of a brute. Also as well, this here has another side to it, which will allow us to, it will give the information for the levels of your freshwater and grey water tanks as well. So I thought it was a really good two-in-one piece of equipment. So that's basically everything that we've got right here. I don't have any cables or lugs or the solar panels yet. I think that's probably about the only thing. Oh, got the batteries. They're pretty much, I've got 2 of the 3 already underway. They should still take about 6 to 8 weeks though, and the third one will probably be on its way shortly. So once all that's done, yeah, it's just installing it. I want to emphasize, I am not an electrician. There's only so much that I'm going to be able to do here by myself, but a lot of it will I will need a professional, especially for the certification and signing off that the van is going to be safe. So thank you very much for getting this far. Hopefully you found it quite informative, and I really hope that I did a good job for you. So yeah, if you did like this here, please subscribe to us. And in the next episode, I think we're going to be going through because we're in New Zealand and we're pretty much away from most international markets, sometimes getting stuff can be quite an adventure in itself. So everything that I've showed you today, we're going to have in the description below. So please look, and as I said before, please subscribe if you found this informative. As you can see, with how the light has changed, we've gone from pretty much late afternoon to evening now. The sun's coming down, so it is time to say goodbye. And hey, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you again later. Thank you.